and sing. The Spirit harvests the power, our separate fires kindle one flame. Then this the mystery of this hour, our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Sightless the law and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. For the earth forever turning, for the skies for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the mountains, hills, and pastures in their silent majesty, for the stars, for all the heavens, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the sun, for rain and thunder, for the seasons' harmony, for the lives, for all creation, sing we our joyful praise of thee. For the world we raise our voices, on a home that gives us birth. In our joy we sing, returning to our blue-green hills of earth. Great. Good morning. Morning. Welcome to Namaqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Debbie Gentry, and I am serving as a worship associate today for this growing, journeying community. We welcome all of you to our service, especially those of you who are searching for a spiritual home. Many of us once were too, seeking something larger than ourselves to which we could belong, a sense of rootedness to hold us as we create meaning together. We do that well here, thank you. We do that well here, though not perfectly. In this congregation, we strive not for perfection, but for authenticity and connection. Whether it's your first time in worship with us or your 100th time, we hope that you'll find here questions that stretch you, people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in radiating love, peace, and justice in the world. We would love to stay connected, so please sign up for our communications at the welcome table at the entrance. We honor the ground we walk upon and acknowledge this land as the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. Next Sunday, April 21st, is our very first Music Sunday celebrating Earth Day. We will explore our connection with, our responsibility to, and love for our beautiful planet through song. Please join music director Ryan Marvel, Reverend Dana Lightsey, the Namakwa Choir, the Ukes, 3 individual soloists, a piano trio, and more for this very special service on the eve of Earth Day. Next Tuesday, April 16th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., our monthly women's group will present the program Staying Safe in the Wild. Join Kim Skylander for a safety discussion on preparing for wilderness hikes and car adventures. Namakwa will host our own open mic night next Friday, which is a lot of fun. April 19th from 6:30 to 8 p.m., come one and come all. Musicians, poets, comedians, actors, dancers, storytellers, jugglers, and anyone with something to share or who wants to be part of a supportive audience is welcome. Our Creating Theology Together workshop has been postponed until May the 11th, so there's still time to sign up. Join Doug Stewart and Reverend Dana for a fun and meaningful exploration of your own theology. This will be in Parker Hall from 9 to 3. Please register so we can plan accordingly. If you have a brief personal joy or sorrow that you would like to share in today's service but do not want to come forward to the mic, please write it down on a piece of paper to be collected by the ushers during the offering. There are paper forms at the welcome table. And I think there's somebody who wants to give us a really special announcement.
Hey, you guys, I need your attention.
Use the mic.
Oh, I guess I can.
Well,
Uh-oh.
Thank you.
the folks on Zoom can hear you if you use the mic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, can you hear me? There we go. Okay. As you probably already know, I'm up here to advertise for the auction coming up this next Saturday. Now, we've got a little flyer here that's going to go out via email blast that gives you the time that everything is going to start to happen, okay? So I want to call out to you very quickly that we're going to meet here at Namakwa, all those who are willing to help set up stuff down at the Chilson Center. So 12 o'clock noon is the time. The auction actually starts at 5, and we're going to spend the afternoon kind of setting things up, and then at 5 o'clock we're going to have the auction start, okay? We will need some help after the auction is done, which is at 8 o'clock. 8 to 8:30, we're going to be cleaning house down there. We've got to get all the stuff moved back up here, okay? We would like anybody that is able to stick around long enough to help us get things loaded back up and back up here, okay? So that's the most important thing. Anyway, that's what we want to talk about. And again, please notice that this thing is going to be sent out by email blast, and so you'll have a list of what time things are going to happen. Now, there's one lady in the audience here who wants to know how she's going to feed all these people at the auction. And if you have any ideas about what you might want to bring in the way of auction, something to put together for the potluck, please see Norma Fox over here. She's the one that's organizing all of that stuff. Anyway, the rest of you, I'd like to see you there.
Question, what's the deadline for people bringing things for the silent auction to church?
For the silent auction, okay. That is today.
Tomorrow.
Is the last day, supposedly. If you happen to have forgotten that, please get a hold of me or get a hold of somebody else that's on the auction committee, and we'll make amends and let you bring it in whenever you can, okay? But today is supposed to be the last day of the auction. Okay, I will shut up and get out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. For questions, you can also see Scott Walker. Scott?
Wave your hand, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Scott.
Yeah. Many thanks to everyone involved in today's service. Did I miss something, Dana?
Nope.
No?
But Dick Barton has something to
Oh, great. Okay. Dick, please come up. And I'm done. After you, Dick, I'm done.
I'm back. Good morning. It is another beautiful weekend in Colorado. Enjoy the weather and have a picnic today. It seems that we had a setback on our climb up Long's Peak. A number of congregants, when they completed the trough, got altitude sickness. When you get altitude sickness, you kind of lose energy, your mind starts to wander, and it's dangerous, okay? So we delayed our final push to the summit for 1 week until Monday, April 22nd. Just as climbers get altitude sickness, so do pledgers have amnesia. They forget they have not sent in their pledge form. To date, we have 48 pledges. The average pledge is up over 10% over the previous pledge drive. However, almost a third of our pledgers have not sent in their pledge form. They make up about 30% of the amount pledged last year. So we need to have those pledges come in. The board has to review and recommend a budget for next year for you to approve. So you will have final approval. When a pledge drive falls short, the board must evaluate the services provided. I have been involved with one board where we had pledge drive fall short, and it is not a fun discussion. So I don't want to have another unfun discussion, but I'm not on the board this year. So the pledge drive will end next Monday instead of this Monday, and I will report to the board before I leave on Tuesday for an 8-day trip to Mexico to work on a rotary clean water project. We're going to install filters in individual homes up in the mountains to provide clean, germ-free water. Time is limited. If you are one of the unpledged, please take action now. Hopefully next Sunday, I shall have a better report, and we will have reached the summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. We have opening words by Elizabeth Mount called co-regulation. From our very first breath, we reach out. Co-regulation, not self-regulation. It is in our nature.
We find our cues from the sun and the moon, from each parent and caregiver.
We find our place in the great turning planet by turning to one another.
Generation to generation, we awaken to the dawn and fall asleep at the evening's end.
Our life's journey is part of something greater, something simple, something divine.
A flame cannot be lit without a spark. A life cannot begin without the air.
And we cannot begin to find ourselves without love.
May we reach out to one another. May we offer love and nurturing care.
And may we join together in celebration of the interdependence of our lives. In this spirit, my friends, let us worship together. And with that, I invite us to share in our reciting our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So I invite you now to turn and share peace with each other and our spirit of love. Thank you.
I hope Peter got his.
I hope so too. Yeah. I hope so too. That must really be hard to hear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Good morning. How are
Glad
you?
you're here.
Glad you're here.
I keep thinking about next week.
I know.
I'm watching you two here. I'm like, that'll one meeting today. Yeah.
It's
Puts it
gonna
all
be
in a
fun.
different light, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it filled in.
Yeah.
It did? Yeah. I thought we were pretty sparse.
They're a chatty group today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see Sherry McTee back.
Sharing what?
Sherry McTee behind Kathy.
Yeah. Do you know where she's been?
She said just really busy.
I missed her.
Yeah.
Our world is one world. One touches one, affects us all. The seas that wash us round about, the clouds that cover all. fun story for us this morning. And if you want to, you can come sit with me. Do you want to come sit with me? Okay. These happen to be my granddaughters, but if there are other people identifying as children, now, hello, my girls. Now, I'm going to read a story that you actually know this story, because I've read it to you before. But you might, if you want to see the pictures, it's going to be up on the screen, so you can see the pictures up there. I have read that to you before. It's called The Invisible String. And this story is written by Patrice Karst and illustrated by Jeff Stevenson. You do know it. I know you do. Yeah, I hope you share one of those with your sister. Okay, Liza and Jeremy, the twins. Oh, good, I'm glad. Liza and Jeremy are twins, just like you and your sister, huh? And they were asleep on a calm and quiet night. And suddenly it began to rain very hard, and the thunder rumbled until it got so loud that it woke them up, and they said, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!" They cried out as they ran to her. "Oh, don't worry, you two. It's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." And Mom said, "You know, we're always together, no matter what." "But how can we be together when you're out here and we're in bed?" said Liza. Well, Mom held something right in front of them and said, "This is how." And rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came closer to see what Mom was holding in her hand. I was about your age when my mommy first told me about the invisible string. "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" asked Eliza. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart and know that you are always connected to everyone that you love. When you're at school, you miss me. Your love travels all the way down the string until I feel it tug at my heart." Tug, tug, just like when I sent you the text last night. I felt that tug. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts, said Jeremy. "Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string too?" Liza asked. "She sure does," said Mom. "And best friends like me and Lucy?" asked Liza. "Best friends too." "How far can the string reach?" "Anywhere and everywhere," Mom said. "Would it reach me even if I was a submarine captain deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes, even there." "Or a mountain climber?" "Even there." "A ballerina in France?" "Even there." "A jungle explorer?" "Even there." "How about an astronaut out in space?" "Yes, even there." Then Jeremy quietly asked, "Can my string reach all the way to Uncle Brian in heaven?" "Yes, even there." "Does the string go away when you're mad at us?" "Never," said Mom. "Love is stronger than anger, and as long as you have love in your heart, the string will always be there. Even when you get older and can't agree about things like what movie to see, or what games to play in the back seat, or what time to go to bed." "Oh, that's right. You two should be in bed." And with that, they all laughed as Mom chased them back to their beds. And within a few minutes, they were asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. And as they slept, they started to dream of the invisible strings they have, and all the strings their friends have, and their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by invisible strings. Can you feel the strings? Try a little harder. I bet you can feel all the strings too. Okay, you guys ready to go play? Have some fun with Janet? We're gonna sing you out now. Ready? We're gonna make a tunnel. Here we go. She's at the end there. Okay, ready? Here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Albert Einstein once said, "A human being is a part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to the affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." And a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in which he says, "All I'm saying is simply this, that all of life is interrelated. We are tied in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. And whatever it affects one directly, it affects all directly. And as long as there is extreme poverty in this world, no one can be totally rich, even if he has $1 billion. As long as diseases are rampant and millions of people cannot expect to live more than 28 or 30 years, no one can be totally healthy, even if he just got a checkup in the finest clinic in the nation. Strangely enough, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never really be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality." Today I light this chalice to remind us that we are all interconnected. Whatever affects one affects all.
Thank you, Debbie.
You bet.
And part of that interconnected web we engage with by sharing half of our plate that we collect every Sunday with another nonprofit. During March and April, we are supporting a nonprofit called Raw Tools. Raw Tools turns guns into garden tools. Isn't that cool? And that's at the center of their work. But they also connect their programs and enable storytelling, stories of magnificent transformation, as well as the deep trauma of grief and loss. Raw Tools gives workshops on restorative justice, de-escalation, bystander intervention, circle process, open dialogue, and mental health first aid. What a great program to support, yeah? So I thank you for all of the ways that we support. We had a conversation, so pardon us for making an adjustment here, but we talked on Thursday that when we do this, let's go ahead and pass the baskets as I'm talking. So I don't want to keep talking, but let's go ahead and start that. Just a little change that we want to make, because we want to be able to have this part done so that you can enjoy listening more to Ryan and as he plays amazing and beautiful music for us. So I managed to talk a little bit longer. There we go. There we go. Okay, thank you, everyone. So beautiful. Thank you, Ryan. That's okay. Perfect. Thank you. And thanks to each and every one of you for all of the ways that you help sustain the ministry of this church. Thank you. And for reaching out to Raw Tools. That's okay. I messed you up. Thank you. Now is the time in our service where we lift up and celebrate your joys and concerns and all that is going on in your life and all the happenings. So I invite you to come forward with a short, personal, brief, did I say short? Yeah, comment, or I can bring you the microphone too. I do have a couple to share with you before we dive in. Looks like Elle's brother died on Easter Sunday. I'm so sorry, Els. From Parkinson's. Please keep the family in your thoughts, and we do hold you in our hearts. Yeah, we hold. You want to say that with me? We hold you in our hearts. Thank you. And I wanted to let you know that Lena Leverson, Leverett, I heard you in my head, I almost said thank you. Had surgery, but her surgery her site became infected, and she is back in the hospital, but is doing much better and is hoping to get out of surgery on Monday. So, Lena, we hold you in our hearts, and may you heal quickly and well. Yeah, thank you. Others? Do you want me to bring? Oh. Well, so here's the deal that I was telling our sweet babbler earlier, is that we can hear in here pretty much if you have a pretty loud voice, but the folks on Zoom can't hear a single thing if you don't use a microphone. So it's always important to use a mic. Thanks.
Well, they can hear me, but they can't see me. My daughter in Germany, she lives there with her wife Imogen, and they called yesterday on a string of WhatsApp, and they're having twins, and they're finished their first trimester, and your story was just astonishingly on point. Thank you.
Oh, fabulous. All right. Well, we hold you in our hearts with joy. That's very exciting.
My name's Andrea, and I'm experiencing this amazing joy right now. I'm always telling my kids it's okay to ask for help, but heaven forbid that I follow that advice. And we have yard work, endless. And so this spring I am asking for help, and it's bringing me so much joy. It's just wonderful. And then we also had an amazing experience yesterday finding a riding lawnmower. It's just like the lawn gods just smiled on us and everything went boom, boom, boom. So anyway, again, great joy for me.
Great. Joy comes in many ways, and we hold you in your joy with us as well. Okay, do you have one too? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen Upton, and my husband Clay and I, this is our 4th time to be here, and our joy is to have found you all.
Yay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And we'll share in that joy and are so glad that you're with us and hold you in our hearts.
I'm Linda. I have a joy. Sometimes we make a birthday person wear a tiara. And tomorrow is Jean Decker's 94th birthday.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm passing the tiara.
Okay. All right. Are you taking him the tiara? Shall we sing? So let's sing. 94th birthday. I think that deserves a song.
Oh, yeah.
Ready? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jean. Happy birthday to you. Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
I have a bifurcated and short comment. My name's Kathy. My good friend Karen is here today. Karen Brock is headed to Nepal in early May, so this will be one of the last times. I don't know if she's coming to the auction or not. She, of course, brought something for the auction, but we're going to miss her.
Aww. Yes, we are going to miss you. And during your time in Nepal, we're going to be holding you in our hearts the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you're still a part of us, and that string still connects.
I'll feel it.
Yeah, you can tug on it even. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. Okay, good. Well, I invite us to take a few moments and settle in for a meditation. As we settle into our breathing, and close your eyes if you feel like it. So today we are celebrating our interdependence, the interconnected web of life. So I invite you now, as you're breathing in and out, air that has been on the planet since, a few million years probably, I don't know. And it's still providing you fresh air. And your exhale is providing breath for all of the plants. I invite you to feel your uniqueness. I know we don't always want to go there, but go there. Acknowledge how cool you are. I can vouch. You're amazing people, each and every one of you. And you're all unique. Feel your uniqueness. Acknowledge it. None of us would be the same without you. Let that sink in. None of us would be the same without you. You, my friend, and I are an amalgamation of the ancestors who have come before us. The environment that has surrounded each and every one of us, all the experiences that you have lived, all the thoughts and feelings that have accompanied you along your way. All of this has shaped who you are in this moment. And you will be different in the next moment and the next moment. Feel all that has created you in your DNA. The fact that you cannot pinpoint a certain cell that came from a certain ancestor. And with all of that are your connections. The connections that spread far and wide to your ancestors, to your past and present, current relationships, just like those strings reaching out from every aspect of your being into the world in connection. Feel the fullness of who you are from your connections and who you belong to. Now you might be sorting through your ancestors and thinking, well, maybe this one, but not that one. So let's just say you're healthy ancestors. And yes, you had them. The ancestors loved you. They loved you as a descendant, and they had hopes and dreams for you as their descendant. Can you feel this love? Can you feel the love you hold for your descendants, born and unborn, directly from your line or from others? They are still your descendants and the hope and the future. Feel this uniqueness of who you are. I invite us to sing as a part of our meditation the song We Are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child We are all connected. And there's a Unitarian Universalist that has helped us become more connected, the entire world, in the last 25 years. And that Unitarian Universalist is Tim Berners-Lee. If you don't know that name, Tim Berners-Lee actually invented the internet. You didn't know that, did you? Tim Berners-Lee invented the internet in, was it 1991, 92? 93 is when it really started to, we'll never forgive him, is that what you said? Well, our lives are totally different, are they not? We are so much more deeply connected than we were before the internet, and we were pretty connected then. I share with you a quote from Tim Berners-Lee. In an extreme view, the world can be seen as only connections, nothing else. We think of a dictionary as the repository of meaning, but it defines words only in terms of really other words. I like the idea that a piece of information is really defined only by what it's related to. And how it's related. There really is little else to meaning. The structure is everything. There are billions of neurons in our brains, but what are neurons? Just cells. The brain has no knowledge until connections are made between neurons. All that we know, all that we are, comes from the way our neurons are connected. I know, interesting perspective. I never thought of it that way. And yet we are all different and unique, with our own gifts and our own needs and challenges. And we don't agree. Even in the UU world, as you might be surprised, we don't always agree. But it's the timeless challenge. How do we rise above our differences, our hurts, trauma, different needs, wants, and agendas? Well, our new statement of shared Unitarian Universalist values, the first value listed out of the 6 is called interdependence. They kind of took number 1 of the 7 principles with number 7 and flipped them around. So we're starting with the web of life. And this says, we honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. What do you think? Do you agree with that? Yeah? We honor the interdependent web of all existence. So, as I ponder interdependence, and we are many, and we are one, I start thinking about, well, which cells in my bodies do I actually identify me, and which cells in my bodies don't identify me? That doesn't even make any sense. But what about the microbes that live in and on us? Not something we usually talk about, but they are there, and it's a good thing that they are there. Are they us? They're a completely different species. Many species, I'm sure. But when we begin looking, is this actually me? It starts to get a little murky. So where do you begin and another leaves off? Could you possibly be who you think you are without any of those other people in your life? Or do they define you? Perhaps the better question is, whose are you? Rather than who are you? Whose are you? Who do you belong to? Who belongs to you? Who has that string from you? Maybe your identity is defined by connections, just like Tim Berners-Lee was describing. Now, in the South African tradition, they already have a name for this, as you may know, Ubuntu. Ubuntu. I am because you are. I am because you are. And as we heard earlier, Martin Luther King talking about, you cannot be your best self until I am my best self. And I cannot be my best self until you are your best self. And the term namaste in Sanskrit from the Hindu tradition, which loosely translates, I honor the light within you and within myself, and it is in that place where we are one. It is in that place where we are one. Namaste. What a greeting. Well, if we are unique, but that's the connections that define us, and it is our interactions that mold and shape us, I begin to imagine us as part of a giant big organism. Each of us is like a cell. Or maybe we are our own life form living in the microbiome of an overarching organism. Oh. Maybe we should call that overarching organism Earth life or something. I don't know, anybody got a better idea? Okay. One thing is for sure, Earth life wouldn't be the same without you. I want to remind you of e pluribus unum. I'm not saying that very well today. Out of many, one. That's on all of our money. So it's speaking of the country, out of many, one. But that phrase was around long before the country existed. We need one another and we depend on one another. In Buddhism, it is said that all humans are Buddhas. Look at all these Buddhas out here. So nice. It's just that most of us haven't realized our true nature and the truth of who we truly are. One with everything. We are Unitarian, Universalists. Unity, we are one. We are dancing with the universe, between our own free will and our own unique individualism and the greater whole of which we are a part. We affect it, and it affects us, and it is us. We are it. And together with life itself, we weave and dance and create new life. With each breath, with every action, we affect life. That's actually the definition of karma. It is the essence of the great creative process. And yet, I don't know about you, but most of us are not enlightened. Not there yet. We are not realized Buddhas yet. We still see the world around us as being separate. We fight with them. We are afraid of them. One day in Boulder, a few years ago, I was at a protest, a rally for climate change, around climate change and trying to affect that. And it was all clergy people gathered and faith traditions. It was like the faith tradition corner, you know. And this one woman, she seemed really nice, and she was helping me hold a banner, and she told me how she was Catholic and everything. And then she leaned over to me in this conspiratorial voice and said, you know, I hate to admit it, but I wish we could just throw all those people who don't understand climate change off the planet. And what scared me is she seemed really serious. And I'm like, I kind of think that's like genocide, you know? Because when we divide ourselves between us and them, we break our connection and our understanding of what makes us whole. We lose touch with the interconnectedness of our being. And yet it is hard to reconcile even being of the same species with some, is it not? Our mission for Namakwa is to radiate love, peace, and justice. And I wonder, do we do that in a passive way, like a radiator in a house? I'm radiating. Not moving or engaging? Or do we do this in an active way, stirring up the heat for love, peace, and justice? Activating love, peace, and justice in the world. Well, I ask you to remember a service I think it was in February, about Wait Still and Martha Sharp. Many of you were here for that, I think. You see, they were sent to Germany and to Czechoslovakia to rescue as many people as possible during World War II. And they rescued thousands of people. And I ask you, what do you think those ministers back in the States were preaching if the Unitarian Association was so adamant to try to help that they sent a minister and his wife to go rescue people? What were they talking about? We've had a lot of criticism, not just in Unitarian world, but all over the United States, that we didn't do enough in the early days of World War II. We didn't acknowledge it. We didn't talk about it. We stayed out of it. Well, our collective body, the earth life, is not healthy now and is suffering in many ways. And to be fully human and fully connected, we cannot turn away from this moral catastrophe that is happening in the Middle East. Just like our ancestors could not turn away from World War II. Ukraine also deserves mentioning here too, for that is a terrible tragedy and a terrible war. And there are other wars that are always a terrible tragedy. But what we see in Gaza is genocide. And I want to share with you that a month ago, on February 14th, 2 months ago, it is April, Dana. Oh yeah. The UUA wrote a statement, and I'm only going to read part of it, but I encourage you to read the whole thing, that condemns violence against Gaza and urges immediate and total ceasefire. And they have sent numerous letters to the president and to others from the head of our denomination. So this statement was developed by the Office of the President and other senior national staff of the Unitarian Universalist Association, grounded in the values of Unitarian Universalism and in conversation with previous resolutions, statements, and actions passed by the General Assembly, the UUA's democratically elected governing body. Okay, it's a mouthful. There are crystallizing moments in the course of history when, in spite of the differences that exist among us, our common reverence for life demands that we speak with moral courage and clarity on the side of love. As people of faith and conviction, Unitarian Universalists share a belief that every human life is sacred, endowed with worth and dignity from the moment of birth, with no person more deserving of freedom and flourishing than any other. Our living tradition has long maintained that the only hells that exist are those that we create for one another here on earth. We are watching in real time as the people of Gaza exist in a human-made hell that grows more unimaginable every day. And this was 2 months ago. In their January 26 emergency interim ruling, the International Court of Justice found that these atrocities in Gaza plausibly constitute genocidal acts and issued an immediate order to the Israeli government to take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts, within the scope of the United Nations Convention on Genocide. While the Unitarian Universalist Association has historically affirmed the importance of the genocide conventions, we know that there is a wide range of opinions among Unitarian Universalists about how this terminology is used today. What should be clear to all of us, however, is that the Israeli government's forced displacement, punishment, and intentional inflicting suffering and death upon children and civilians in Gaza is a moral catastrophe that our faith demands that we condemn and resist. And we can add famine to the list now, too. The UUA further condemns the US government's unabated complicity in the crisis in Gaza, from providing massive military aid to Israel to slashing funding to the United Nations relief and work agencies for Palestinian refugees. I didn't know that they slashed the funding for that. Wow, missed that detail. We call for the US government to stop funding Israel's military machine and to leverage its unrivaled influence upon Israel and in the world community to intervene and stop the attacks in Gaza. We call upon all Unitarian Universalists, that's you and me, to open our hearts and be present to the depths of human suffering in this moment, not just by one group, but by people of many nationalities, identities, and religions. We commit to identifying and mitigating the evils of anti-Semitism, anti-Arabism, and Islamophobia in our own tradition, and to address the toxic legacies wherever we encounter them. So we encourage all Unitarian Universalists to take action in solidarity not only with the global movements for ceasefire, but with liberatory, pro-democratic movements of all kinds that are working towards a future that contains the conditions possible for true and enduring peace. End quote. So yes, let your heart break, for this is worthy of deepest emotions. Those who are suffering are a part of us. Let us live from wholeness, even though it hurts and is full of grief and anger and frustration and more grief. That makes us broken too, if we disconnect and push away and don't feel what's going on. And that's adding to the tragedy if we check out. Now I'm getting to know you, and I know that you're not very good at sitting around and feeling hopeless. Good on you. Hopeless. So the best thing that we can do right now is to write to the Biden administration and to all of your senators and representatives demanding a ceasefire. Genocide is not, and never has been, the answer. I have created a handout of names and addresses to write in case you need them, and I will have them for you in coffee hour, so I can hand them out to you. And they're not hard to find if you just Google them. You might have to Google each person, but. So in Buddhism, there's a blessing of the Bodhisattva. And in a way, it's a blessing and a curse. Because, as someone has said, the best revenge is to wish someone healing and wholeness, happiness. That doesn't sound like revenge. But that's ultimately what we want, and anything else is not enough. So the blessing of the Bodhisattva is, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be healed and find their path to happiness. So may the hell caused by division and fear and hatred cease, and may we find amidst our differences our unifying commonalities, our oneness. And may we finally learn to truly respect the inherent worth and dignity of all. Truly, this is the great evolution that we must find our way to if we ever hope for love, peace, and justice to prevail. May we keep radiating, and may we do everything we can to make this so. Thank you. I invite you to rise and sing with me, "We Would Be One."
Our hearts and points us on our way.
invite you to reach out and connect with those around you in whatever way is comfortable for you. Holding hands or hand on shoulders or whatever works. Thank you. And I share with you this quote as our closing words by Thich Nhat Hanh. Interbeing is the understanding that nothing exists separately from anything else. We are all interconnected. By taking care of another person, you take care of yourself. By taking care of yourself, you take care of the other person. Happiness and safety are not individual matters. If you suffer, I suffer. If you are not safe, I am not safe. There is no way for me to be truly happy if you are suffering. If you can smile, I can smile too. The understanding of interbeing is very important. It helps us to remove the illusion of loneliness and transform the anger that comes from the feeling of separation. So my friends, I invite us to sing together and send this goodwill and this blessing of the Bodhisattva out into the world. Oh, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. Thank you, and peace be with you. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.